Hello children, today I'm going to read you a story called Alfie's Adventure-Filled Journey of Learning. Once upon a time, in a beautiful village called Sunnydale, there lived a boy named Alfie. His father worked in mining, one of the hardest jobs in the village, but as he got older, the work became too heavy for him. One day, his father gave him 10 gold coins and said, "My dear son, I have a special task for you. Tomorrow, you must go to the livestock market. You should buy 2 cows and 5 chickens and bring them home. I am getting old and can no longer do my current job. Instead, I want to work with livestock. This way, we can spend quality time together and support ourselves." The next day, Alfie set off early in the morning. During his journey, he noticed an old man reading stories to children under a tree. Curiously, he approached them and started listening to the man. Later on, he asked the man to teach him how to read and write within 3 days. The man agreed to fulfill his request. In exchange for the 10 gold coins, Alfie accepted the offer and began learning how to read and write. At the end of the 3rd day, having successfully learned these skills, he started his journey back home. When Alfie returned home, his father was surprised to see that he had not brought any animals with him. So he asked with curiosity, "Why didn't you bring the animals?" Alfie replied sadly, "Father, I couldn't buy the animals. Instead, I used the gold coins to learn how to read and write." His father smiled and said, "Don't worry, my dear son. You have spent the money on something truly valuable. Tomorrow, you will go again." And he gave Alfie another 10 gold coins. The next morning, Alfie set off again. This time, he saw a grandfather playing chess with his grandson. Captivated by the strategic moves and the enchanting nature of the game, Alfie wanted to learn how to play chess. He asked the old man to teach him how to play chess within 3 days, and the man said he could do it for 10 gold coins. Alfie gave him the money, and at the end of the day, he set off for home having learned how to play chess. When Alfie returned home, his father was once again surprised to see him without the animals. Puzzled, he asked, "Why didn't you bring the cows and chickens?" Alfie replied sadly, "Father, this time I used the money to learn how to play chess." His father smiled warmly and said, "You have made another wise choice, son. Tomorrow, you will go again to get the animals. But remember, this is our last 10 gold coins." The next morning, Alfie set off once again. This time, he met a man playing the flute. The enchanting sound of the instrument caught Alfie's interest, and he wanted to learn how to play. The talented musician agreed to give him flute lessons in exchange for 10 gold coins. Alfie gave him the money and took intensive flute lessons for 3 days. At the end of the 3rd day, he thanked the musician and started his journey back home. Alfie was ashamed to go home, since he promised his father that he would return with the animals. As he was thinking about what to do on the way, he overheard 2 friends talking about a treasure. Excitedly, he approached them and asked if he could join them. Alfie offered to help them and suggested that they could share the treasure. Emily and Daniel accepted his offer, and the trio set off on their journey together. As they continued their adventure, they came across a hidden cave. However, every time they tried to enter, a huge stone door blocked their way, refusing them entry. They discovered that there is a riddle written on the stone. Since Alfie was the only one who could read it, he read it out loud to them. "Use your wit, begin to think. The battle of black and white is here. Castle, queen, and king, all are here. Make the right move, and the door will open for you." Emily quickly exclaimed, "Chess." She had found the correct answer. The stone door opened, allowing them to enter the cave. When they entered the cave, they were greeted by a magnificent sight. They stood in front of a treasure filled with gold and jewels. The shimmering reflections of the golden treasures adorned the walls of the cave. As the children watched this enchanting sight in awe, they began to fill their bags with gold. As they prepared to leave the cave, the exit suddenly closed. Trapping them inside, the three friends moved towards another section of the cave to find another way out. After a while, they came across a giant chessboard. In order to move forward by stepping on the chessboard, they had to win a game of chess. Alfie, who knew how to play chess, accepted to face an imaginary opponent. He played with great focus and skill and defeated his opponent. Thus, they were able to move on to the next section of the cave. Finally, they saw the exit of the cave, but there a large snake awaited them. The snake would not allow them to leave and approached them dangerously. Daniel noticed a flute hanging on the wall, and remembered that the snake fell asleep to the sound of the flute. However, he said that he didn't know how to play the flute. Alfie bravely stepped forward and said, "I know how." He immediately took the flute and began to play it melodically. The magical melody of the flute calmed the snake and made it fall asleep. The three friends quickly exited the cave. Alfie fulfilled his promise to his father and returned home with the animals. He excitedly told his father about the adventures he had. His father appreciated his son's courage and what he had learned, and proudly hugged him. Alfie could now read and write, play chess, and play the flute. He shared his knowledge with the other children in the village and helped them discover new things. Alfie's story reminds us that learning never ends and that we can always discover new things.